Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today it's my pleasure to look at another book from the Legal Action Group. We greatly appreciate all the work that the group does. It's an important series of publications they have which touch everybody, both the advisor, the practitioner and of course the lay client. The books are always readable and of a great benefit to everybody involved in the legal profession. The book I'm looking at this morning is called Disabled Children. It's a legal handbook now in a second edition, and it's been written by Steve Broach, Luke Clements and Janet Reed. It's available as both a paperback and an e-book, and Elizabeth and I have given our review title for this work, A Practical Legal Statement from the Legal Action Group on Furthering the Interests of Disabled Children, which is what it is. This is the book here. It's quite a heavy book actually. It's a paperback, that's the front, then you've got the spine, and then you've got the back. Quite a lot of detail, some of which I'll refer to in my review. You've also got a shaded area for the appendices at the back, which is always quite useful because you can find things quite quickly. That in fact is the appendix, and it's the legislation. So it's useful to have all of that in one particular place, and very much in keeping with the works that LAG produce. There's a little advertisement which I'll show on the back concerning the Council for Disabled Children. Then you've got the actual index, which you can see there. The index is about paragraph numbering, so it's not page numbering, it's paragraph numbering to find what you're looking for. There's a comment about the cover image, LB's Justice Quilt. You can have a look at that in some detail, and that's what the comment is on the picture. And then after that you've got the actual detail front page. There are additional people involved in writing this book. Their names are mentioned there. I haven't got enough time to mention all of them. This is the basic information about the book, and then there's an introduction which I advise you to read because it sets out December 2015. It sets out what is new in the edition. Then there are legal entitlements which are set out there. There have been some changes, the whole legal entitlements areas covered. Then the list of contributors, because there have been a lot of people, obviously the three main editors, and then you've got the various other people involved here. I will mention them by name. Rebecca Carrier, Camilla Parker, Louise Price, Martha Spurrier and Polly Sweeney. Thank you to all concerned for, again, an excellent amount of work. Then you've got the contents section. Then you've got after that the contents section being quite detailed, running all the way through. There are 11 chapters ending with remedies. Then you've got the legislation at the back in the appendix. Then you've got the table of cases. Then you've got statutes, of course. And then you've got statutory instruments there. And then you've also got, which is coming in regularly now, you've got the table of international and European legislation. There's more of this appearing in a lot of our legal texts, and it's important. Now, the structure of the book, you can see the way LAG do it. You've got a short index for the chapter, so you can find what you're looking for pretty quickly. And it goes to key points immediately, which again is tremendous because it saves a lot of time. Then you've got the introduction and so on, and the paragraph numbering is at the side, so you can find it that way. Obviously there is page numbering as well. The page numbers are actually up in the top corner there, but it's actually the paragraph numbering that's important. I'm just running through. This is dealing with health issues and so forth all the way through. Runs to approximately 600 pages. It has expanded a bit, but it's an important book, and I'm very grateful to all concerned for producing it. This is what we say. This new second edition from the Legal Action Group on welfare law is very much welcomed for the substantial effort which has been put in by the authors Steve Broach, Luke Clements and Janet Reed, and the contributors to update this important work. They explain in succinct and practical ways the legal rights of some of the most disadvantaged and vulnerable people in our society, namely disabled children. The legal principles in relation to this important group of people are highly complex and frequently misunderstood by organisations and specialists who have duties and responsibilities towards them. Many families are often frustrated because they lack essential information about legal matters which substantially affect their lives and about the ways the law might be used to assist them. And this is where the Legal Action Group steps in as the provider of very well explained material, and they do that not just in this area but a wide range of whatever. The titles, the tags are a bit difficult, but it is welfare law, but it's about housing, possession. It's about a lot of the social issues which are very fundamental to any person's legal practice, because whatever your practice, these issues do arise and one's got to be aware of the human condition. And that's really where the Access to Justice charity Legal Aid comes in, Legal Action Group comes in, because what they're offering us is something that is of great benefit to the judiciary as well as to everybody else. And I know that the judiciary will have these books in their bookcase when I go into court. So it's not something that we, it's just been a publication. It's not like that. It's a much more fundamental hands-on publication. Now what we have here is experienced authors who've expertly set out the many, often overlapping, sources of law explaining the differences between what public bodies must do to support disabled children and that which they may do which will be of great assistance to parents. The second edition provides detailed coverage of the changes in the law on special education needs and disability, that's SEND, including in Part 3 of the Children and Families Act 2014 provisions, and of course the SEND Code of Practice, including education, health and care, the EHC plans. Again, this is very up to date, and you can see at the moment Parliament is approaching this. It's a previous Parliament, of course, but Parliament is looking at these matters afresh. Other important areas covered are the Working Together to Safeguard Children guidance for 2015 and local authority social care duties to disabled children. It also discusses the changes to the National Health Service introduced by the Health and Social Care Act 2012, which impact on disabled children. There is detailed information also for those seeking advice on how to obtain suitable housing for disabled children and their families under the Housing Act 1996, plus a welcome new chapter on decision making and mental capacity, and revised information on transition to adulthood and on the provision of services for young people under 25. So there's in fact quite a range of additional data now available. There's a new chapter which has been introduced right at the end, which is on legal remedies through tribunals, judicial review, ombudsmen and the complaints procedures which men and complaints procedures which also include abilities to assist access to justice. I think you probably misunderstood what I said there, but what I'm actually talking about is that the legal remedies chapter itself is a very useful addition in this book. We consider the book is essential and fundamental reading for those working with disabled children and their families in charitable, independent or statutory sectors. It's highly relevant to advisors, advocates, lawyers, social and healthcare professionals, and for academic study, and I think it's a must for your legal library. Certainly would expect most chambers and law firms to have a copy of this book. Above all, it's written for families with disabled children and disabled children and young people themselves who can find the information provided about legal matters which could and do substantially affect their lives and the ways in which the law might be used to assist them. So thank you very much to the Legal Action Group and the people involved for this. The law is as stated on the 1st of November 2015, and I'm recording this at the beginning of 2016. It's written with the Council for Disabled Children, hence the advertisement about what they do on the back, which is important. As I say, there's the book at the front. Just opening it up in the middle. There's a lot on health. It's education to start with. And then chapter 5, for instance, just opening it up, you can see the There's been a substantial, I would suggest, quite a substantial rewrite in places here of the book since the previous edition which we reviewed. But you can see again the chapters, there's the little index at the front, you should find things easily. And then you go straight to the key points itself, which I think again are very helpful. Then an introduction to that particular topic. And of course when you look at the book at the front, you can then see the main index, which is the actual contents, which is set out in some detail as well, and then just repeated. But you should be able to find what you're looking for very easily when you look at the book. As with all LAG publications, they are easy to read, they're well written, and they are books which the members of the public should be able to read reasonably easily without having to have too much detailed knowledge of legal processes. And that of course is the beauty of what they do. Thank you all very much indeed. We do appreciate this as practitioners, and on behalf of all of them I'd like to thank everybody involved for making our lives a lot easier. Thank you. Bye bye.